Welcome in to another edition of the JMU Sports News Podcast. I'm Bennett Conlin. I've got Jack Fitzpatrick here. We're talking salads.
Uh, let's leave that one on the cutting room floor as we record the intro for the second time, and people can just imagine what we were talking about. Right when you cut out was when I was saying you should try lentils.
I heard that. I heard that as if I'd never tried lentils before.
I don't know. I don't know what your eating habits are. You have some weird eating habits.
Do I? I've tried lentils. I try everything really to get my body up to par, get my body up
Well,
to.
yeah, you really have to do that a lot because with the amount of physical exercise that you do on a daily basis to keep up with your Heisman level of body, you have to
I'm
eat a lot.
running. I'll run 10 miles. I'll squat 500 pounds. I'll bench 300 pounds, and that's all in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then you'll play 18 rounds of golf, 18 holes of
Or
golf.
rounds if I have enough time. I mean, if the course is empty.
I just roll through it as good, just speed
Quickly as
golf
I
it.
can.
No cart needed.
Yeah, struggling with some blisters on my toes, bottom of my toes actually from
Oh,
some golf. Never had that happen before. So I need to check out the shoe situation. I got some new socks that I purchased as well.
how's your golf game doing?
We're
This
trending.
this is
We
what
are
everyone
trending.
loves to tune. This is what people tune in for the Jamie Sports News podcast. Bennett's golf game.
I downloaded this new app, 18 Birdies. New for me, not probably not for others. And it tracks like your strokes gain data. They're a sponsor of the pod, so this is no problem. And I played
They
nine
are
holes.
not a sponsor of the pond, but if they want to be, we're open for business. And if you want to be, email us, jamiesportsnews@gmail.com.
There you go. Also subscribe to our YouTube, like and subscribe.
Also, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. We appreciate everyone who goes on there and buys us a coffee and helps support
Or a
what we're doing.
matcha. That's really sitting at the bottom right now.
Did you just pronounce a matcha a matcha?
A matcha. Okay. Anyway, strokes gain data. Approach game, absolutely phenomenal the other day. I'm gaining strokes on a scratch golfer. I'm gaining strokes on a PGA Tour player. I was told wedge game fine, putting fine, short game fine. Tee shots are just dreadful.
Oh,
Just I like played 9 holes and I was losing shots against like a 20 handicap. I'm putting the driver everywhere.
yikes!
So we're working on it though.
Yeah, let's dial it in a little bit. Let's focus.
Hitting it too low off the tee. So I'm trying some stuff with my shoulders, trying some shoulder
Oh,
alignment stuff, see if I can get that ball up in the air.
interesting, interesting. I too have an issue off the tee.
That's right.
It goes straight right every
Yeah, but
single time.
you got the height you're looking for. Is everything except direction is what exactly right.
Yeah, it just goes straight right. Goes about 200, 300 yards, but straight right.
And this segues in well to the JMU Sports News Invitational that we'll have in Harrisonburg in July.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Could we
So if
put that
somebody wants to
together?
sponsor that,
If we could put that together, that would be so much fun.
yeah.
Get it catered by Cinnamon Bear Bakery and Deli.
Yeah.
Post round beers at Three Notched. Now, this is an idea. If you want to sponsor, if you're a golf course in the Harrisonburg area, who we have reached out to all of them to see if they were interested in sponsoring the podcast, all of them did unfortunately say no at the time. Uh, but if you have any connections with them and you'd like to help us facilitate a JMU Sports News Invitational, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I could show off my plus 200.
Lots of prizes. Celebrities will be there.
And by celebrities, you mean,
Maybe Delvin if we could convince him to come.
yeah, maybe if we can get him to come up from his home. Delvin, you want to come? It'd be a good time. We're gonna get a text from him
Delvin.
about this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Where do you want to start? Do you want to? We talked softball was hadn't lost yet, but they were doing some
Okay.
fantastic things last podcast. So we can do positivity on softball, and then go into baseball, and then some transfer portal stuff, and then we'll wrap things up. Keep it tight, keep it quick
Yeah.
on this week, this off-season edition of the Jamie Sports News podcast, and then at the end, we'll kind of tease out some of the stuff we have working across the off-season that is coming, and we are very excited about. That'll be at the end of the podcast, but softball looked really good. Softball, shout out to them for their ability to withstand what was a losing streak that would have derailed 95% of other programs.
Yeah, way to fight back from like the adversity they created for themselves, kind of, right? So like they could have maybe avoided the losing streak, but they didn't. and then they bounced back really well in a way that like you said, most teams would not. They could have easily folded or given up. Instead, they sort of rallied together, which is really impressive in the transfer portal era, I think. To make it to a Sun Belt championship game where they were extremely competitive, they got walked off by Coastal, which hurts, but
On like a
not a
wild
bad
pitch,
season. Yeah, man. Not a bad season.
especially where they were, like how they started Sunbelt play. I never would have ever expected that they were going to be beating the number one seed in the
Mhm.
Sunbelt Championship in Texas State, finding their way to the championship game. And you can argue this if it wasn't for a rain delay, maybe things go differently for them.
That's true. I did like the way they're trending pre-rain delay. Maybe some karma from the weather gods after the UVA rain delay in football a couple years
Oh,
back.
good point.
Throwback to the rain delay that we'll all remember forever.
Forever, forever. So congratulations to softball. They did have Reagan Wall enter the transfer portal
Like real fast.
very
Like
fast.
like runner crosses home plate to end their season and like Reagan Wall's in the portal.
So she's in the portal. Bye bye, Reagan Wall. Great knowing you. And we'll see who they add. No one else has jumped in the portal just yet. We may see a couple go into the portal with off-season interviews and things like that, exit interviews coming. But I don't have any huge expectations that they're going to see like a mass exodus.
No, they haven't seen that. If they can keep Peyton List and Kirsten Fleet, I feel like you're feeling pretty good about 2026.
Yes. Yeah, especially after how they finish. If they can take that momentum, and momentum is really tough to take from one season to the next, but if they're able to somehow find a rhythm early on next season, they could be a fun little Sun Belt team and maybe find their way back to an NCAA regional for the first time since 2021.
Yeah, like Fleet, I think Laporte had called her to the Roanoke Times like before she came to JMU a program changer, which was a lot of expectations on her. But she started to kind of show that and show her like top end stuff in the circle in the Sun Belt Championship or the Sun Belt tournament. She was phenomenal throughout. Peyton List, best hitter, and then also make an argument she's right up there with Fleet as a pitcher. Those two are so good. You can build around them. They have a bunch of other young talent, even with Reagan Wall in the portal. So Lauren Laporte has them trending, I think, in a nice direction. Just can you keep Peyton List and Fleet is really the big offseason question.
You know what I hate? Why do we call the Sun Belt tournament, and they do this for all tournaments, the Sun Belt
Yeah.
championships? It's not the championship, it's a championship game. Other than that,
Yesterday.
it's the tournament. That's all.
We should reach out to Keith Hill and be like, hey,
Well,
you're holding back
like
your confidence.
every conference does that. It's like the
I
ACC
hate it. Yeah.
championships. No, it's not. It's the ACC tournament, and then it'll be the ACC championship, singular. Each game's on a championship game. I know coaches say that all the time, that every opportunity is a championship opportunity. Heck, our own Bob Chesney called Gardner Webb a Super Bowl, and they nearly blew it, like the Atlanta Falcons. But
Gave off like Rams Patriots, the 9-6 or whatever that Super
yeah,
Bowl was.
yeah, exactly. Great poll. Great Super Bowl poll.
My guy, Jared Goff, was not so good in that one. But hey,
He wasn't that good in
he
this year's
did win the
playoff either.
Gardner Webb Super Bowl.
Did win the Gardner Webb Super Bowl. Won a couple big Super Bowls early on, then lost a lot of them down the stretch. But
9-4 in Super Bowls.
that's
Pretty
pretty
good
solid.
legacy, right?
Yeah, I mean that's better than Bill Belichick. 9 Super Bowls in one season. I mean, I'm shocked that P5 didn't come scoop him up with that type of record. All right, so you know who went 17 and 38 in Super Bowls?
17 Super Bowls for Ike and the boys.
That's how some people are trying to show this season. That's how some people are trying to paint this season as like it was a success. Come on. 17 and 38. They won 31% of their games if you're keeping score at home, 10 and 20 in Sunbelt play. And they finished 9 and 17 at home and 8 and 21 away from home. That's all I got to say on that. All
I mean, other
Bennett
than
can do
that,
is
how was the
laugh.
play, Mrs. Lincoln, right? It wasn't a good season.
Worst in program history, according to some.
So it was, I mean, it was not,
It
but
wasn't
it
the best. I can tell you so.
wasn't,
It wasn't the best season in program history.
it wasn't what you're looking for. But I mean, you have some good results in here that I think you can point to and say, hey, let's build off that. Such as, you got any?
I thought you were gonna pull like a random series. I
They didn't
mean,
have anything, man. They sucked all
you
year. Like they
you could
just,
you could point to the second game of the season, the 9-2 loss to Florida State.
yeah. Or or even the one after that, 10-0, where it's 8 innings where they didn't have to play a full nine. Little mercy.
I mean, you could point to the series sweep early on in the season against Canisius.
The team the team from the Northeast, man, they're not easy to clip.
I mean, I like to point one of my favorite games to point to is the 3-1 loss at at West Virginia.
Yeah. That's
That
one
was
I'll
a
remember for a long, long time.
I mean, you could point to the 12-6 loss at Virginia. I really like the 9-2 loss in extras to at the time 21st ranked Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And you might be asking, Jack, how do you lose a game by 7 runs in extra innings? I too am asking the same question.
It's a good, it's a good question. So they're 200th in the RPI based on what I'm saying. I believe that's last in the Sun Belt. If you look at Warren Nolan where they break it out by like quadrants. Kind of a tough season for them. So,
Wasn't good.
so they go 0-13 in quad one wins. So 0-13 in those Super Bowls. 5-5 in quad two, which I think is kind of funny based on RPI. But they're really bad against like the like bad teams too. 4-11 quad three, 8-9 quad four, which is just you can't have a losing record against quad four
Well,
opponents.
you can when you're a quad four opponent.
Shouldn't have. I don't know. I know that people are talking about the facilities aren't good enough. Like they sucked this year. They've
They were
never
bad.
had a season this with this kind of so many games under 500. Like they sucked this year.
Yeah.
There's
and we
no
and we don't
sugarcoat.
know the future of the program. Like, what does Roan think of the failure that was Eikenberry this year in the baseball program? Like, what does Eikenberry think of it? Like he said, it's a growing season, but like, can we get a little deeper into that? Like, if this is a growing season, you need to be really hardly looked at because you're coming off of an NCAA regional final, right? You should be building momentum at this point. You're a decade into your tenure. We're over growing seasons. We're into the thick of when you should be producing year in and year out. Instead, we have fallen on our face as a program to have the worst season in program history by results. This is coming off of the heels of one of the best season in the Eikenberry tenure, and he's saying it's a growing season. That's unacceptable. And I'm very intrigued to see how that's received by the athletic department as a whole, by Matt Roan, and to see how the contract is handled moving forward. Because if you want to have consistent, sustained success at Eagle Field, it likely won't come with Eikenberry at the forefront.
And what does growing season mean? Like who grew? What was the growing? How does it translate to next year? Like just saying that like, oh yeah, we're growing. Like what are you growing? Are you growing
I think they're
like
growing weeds.
you growing weeds, right? Are you not watering them? Are they getting any sun? Is it a growing season with, a drought? Drought conditions?
I want to see this team be so good. I want to be shut up. I feel like an idiot for apologizing last year. I want to be shut up, right? Like, I was more than happy to be a little early to apologize last year because I had hope that Eikenberry had turned things around. I just don't know where you go. Like, there is no hope. There is no, you know, that meme. There is no hope. There is no vision. There is no passion. Like, there's no hope for this program as it stands now.
I think my concern is there's like they had a couple of young guys that did some nice stuff. Like Jackson Logar came on really strong as a pitcher and looks like he might have some great stuff as a rising junior. Is he a rising junior in Harrisonburg? Like, do they retain him? Because like they said they were crushed in the portal and with graduations last year, and like some of that stuff you got to kind of see coming in the new
It,
era. Like if you can't adapt to the point where you're like not even flirting with being a 500 baseball team or like just having a winning record against quad four teams.
I wonder how much of that being like, we were crushed in the transfer portals, like trying to market to be like, we were crushed. Give us some NIL money. We were crushed in this trend. Like, I wonder how much of it was that,
Maybe, but there's
but
not.
they
You're
they
not
didn't
getting
get
that
anyone.
much.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I
brother,
mean, like, I also think they get some, like, they have some donations, they have some money. Their facility is not like, I don't know. People act like they're playing in like the sandlot. It's a serviceable stadium,
their
like you,
locker rooms across the street at Memorial. Oh,
which is
okay.
like a what,
Uh, n-
300 steps?
Not to like keep bringing up Charlotte baseball when we talk about JMU baseball, but Charlotte baseball's locker room is also literally across a street, not across a parking lot. Their locker rooms are across the street. You see players have to run across a not a busy street, but like a main street through campus to use the restroom in the middle of a game. And you know what Charlotte just did this year? Second in the AAC, probably going to make the postseason and probably be in an NCAA regional, if not a super regional, because they have a star pitcher and they have a good coaching staff. And you know what they got hit really hard by? The transfer portal. You know what they went out and did? Added kids in the transfer portal. I,
Yeah,
Charlotte baseball is
they
a
are.
very similar team to us in terms of like buy-in from the administration, all of this stuff. And they have had sustained success. They're not making NCAA regionals each and every year, but they're making them at a consistent clip under head coach Robert Woodard.
Yeah, I mean that's like one of my other concerns. Is like they kind of occasionally bring in some guys in the portal, but I wouldn't say they're bringing in a lot of like game-changing dudes in the portal. I mean, some of the guys they bring in are like low-end depth pieces that barely end up playing. And it's like at that point, if that's like your portal edition, like either you whiffed on the evaluation, or like you should just go get a high school kid you can try to develop. Or I don't know. Some of the decisions they've made in the portal have been really confusing, where they've added players and you're like, oh, I wonder if that guy will turn into someone who, makes an impact. And then you watch the season, you're like, oh, that guy's not doing anything. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's just, I don't know, they didn't have enough talent this year to compete in a really competitive league. But I also don't know that they got the most of the talent that they had. Like, I think they were probably better than 17 and 38 in terms of like who was on this team.
Yes, I agree. They had enough talent and they just they did not do anything with it. And
And
that's all
that's
I have.
sort of the story of like most of Ike's tenure outside of last year.
Yeah, people
I don't
know
know.
how I feel. I don't want to like rag on them too much because like they tried. I think the student athletes tried, and I'm not trying to like disparage the student athletes themselves. I'm just really disappointed in like the program itself and like where it is and the expectations around it, and even like the fans around baseball who are like defending it. Uh, and I'm not trying to go after the student athletes, but I think like at this point, Marlon Eichenberry should be like investigated for fraud for the amount of money he's stolen from this university with no results to show for it.
Well, I also, yeah, like I'm sure the players aren't thrilled about 17 and 38 because it's not, I don't know, like some of it, they're in some of these games. And I don't know like what the difference
I mean,
is.
they lost to Coastal in 11 innings, 9-2.
Like that doesn't make sense. And they have some like, I mean, they got a bunch of close losses this year, but they also have a bunch of like not close losses. But they had games that they could have won, they could have been in. Some of the midweeks were like really confusing, where Radford kind of smoked them, like they lost a close one to Mason. Maryland was not a good team this year, and they lose that one in extras. Like last year, they were cooking in the midweeks when they needed to put themselves
In the
in
at-large
position to make a
conversation.
regional. Yeah. And this year, they didn't seem to be good in the midweeks. They didn't seem to be good on the weekends. They didn't seem to have much of a plan.
A lot needs to change in this offseason. They got to do a lot of soul searching to figure out how they can get back to NCAA regional levels because that should be the expectation for this program. Each and every year, you're competing for NCAA regionals.
And the schedule is hard enough that, like, if you're competitive,
You
you
could make
should
an
just.
at-large, yeah. If you, granted, I don't know if I want to see him land in a top four spot again because that might give an extra 4 years to Eichenberry's contract.
It's all really confusing. But I would, yeah, I'd be interested in Rowan's take because I don't know. I kind of push back when people are like, yo, the fan support's not there and there's not the interest. I think there would be a lot of interest in JMU baseball if the program took a step forward. Like, I
Look,
think people would go to those games fairly regularly. And if you get them in like regionals more than once every, decade, I think people would pay attention and care,
look at softball. Like
right?
that's as far you literally just have to look across a walking path to see the fan support that would be there for a successful program. Softball was packed each and every weekend when they were playing Elon, when they were playing Hofstra in the CAA. They had a whole ass extra bleacher built into left field
Right.
to house fans. That same type of support would love to be at Eagle Field, love to be packing out the gravel in left field and having a party out there. So,
Hasn't been good enough.
you know what has been good enough? Actually, I don't know if it's been good enough. I'm very intrigued to see if it's going to be good enough. The transfer portal haul from Preston Spradlin, he just added Ike Cornish, also known as Hen, uh, to the transfer portal haul.
Is that true?
Is his nickname Hen?
Yeah.
No. I just,
Oh.
whenever I hear Cornish, I think of Cornish hens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll get that in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got deep end going.
God, that guy's so good. It's an interesting portal haul for basketball, I would say.
So tell me about Ike Cornish.
What is he gonna be? Four schools now?
I think so.
I think he was in Nicholls State but was injured, right? So didn't really
Played
play.
9 games at Nichols last year.
Yeah, and then he started at Maryland. He's from Baltimore. Started at Maryland and then transferred to Ohio. Seems like he's got some game. It's like a wing, but again, kind of unproven, right? Where he was getting going at Nichols but only played 9 games, whatever. 6'6" wing. Their ESPN Plus guy tagged us on Twitter and said he can go, said he's good. Never was healthy, but was pretty good when he was healthy. Okay.
I'm excited.
I
I'm a little intrigued though by this overall transfer haul. Like a lot of guards and not a lot of like elite shooting.
no, there's no shooting. I don't, well, I guess they have what Cliff Davis can really shoot.
Cliff Davis can shoot because he's like a 42% 3-point shooter, but he's the only shooter.
He's kind of the only shooter. So, and that like they said, like Bradley Douglas from Georgia Southern is not a bad shooter. I think he was like 33-ish% or something. He's above 30% for his career. Comes from Georgia Southern, can score. Um,
Paul
but like
Jones,
Paul
Paul
Jones was right
Jones,
around 33.
but he's like a slasher. He's like a guard that's getting to the hoop. Paul Lewis.
Paul Lewis can go a little bit, so maybe there's something there, but
Maybe
I
they
don't.
have hope. Maybe they have expectations that these guys will like blossom into shooters at age 23.
Well, the issue with some of it is some of them, like, if you look and a guy shoots like 30% from three, and then he's like 85% from the free throw line, it's like, oh, that's going to climb. Some of these guys are like 60% from the line and like 32% from three. And it's like, that's something's not good. Like, I don't know if the shooting stroke is their thing. So I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest with you. But they seem like they'll be physical, which I think will be interesting. And then I had a dream that they added like a 7'1" guy, 7'2" guy. And I woke up this morning, I was like, wait a sec. They don't have a 7-footer, right?
No, their biggest guy I think is either Wilborn or Newhoff.
Newhoff probably at 6'9", Wilborn 6'8", but like they're physical at 6'9", 6'8". Justin McBride is like 6'7", I think, from Oklahoma State and
Yeah,
Nevada.
but
He's
Justin McBride,
240.
but another guy who can't shoot. He's a
Right.
sub
Yeah.
50% free throw shooter.
Yeah. So he's more like again, like I think they're going to be really good inside the arc. And I think they'll play better defense. It might just be like
Ugly.
like a painful watch, yeah. But if they win, I think you can embrace that. So it's just going to be
But if
different.
they lose, the fan interest will jump off a cliff in a hurry.
Yeah, I also wonder then too, like you got Cliff Davis is close to like 40% from three. Is he taking like 10 a
20.
game?
Yeah.
Like is he your 3-point shooter where it's just like get it, feed it to Cliff? And then how does the spacing work offensively if they know that nobody can shoot. Probably not great.
Yeah, this is very much a Preston Spradlin team, though. When he has had success at Moorhead, it's like we are going to grind you to a
Yeah.
pulp, play
Yeah.
great defense, and our pace is going to be absurdly slow. Eh,
That's the other concern though, right? Is like if
But they've got so many guards that probably want to run.
well, and do you want them in the half court if they can't shoot? Like you want to run a bunch of half court sets when your goal is like
Yeah, like the
you,
reason it worked at Moorhead is because Mark Freeman was like a 40%, 42% 3-point shooter when he was at Moorhead.
they had some bucket getters. Maybe they got some guys here that they think like can get after. Like
Well,
Newhoff had said that he talked to us and he was like, yeah, I spent all off season last year working on my 3-point shot. Didn't end up really taking any, but I went from a 60% free throw shooter to 78. So maybe this year he makes the leap and like can step out and hit the occasional three, which spaces the floor. Maybe you got the guards like Douglas and Paul Lewis and Paul Jones, and they can all take like little bumps up, which then you could be okay. Then maybe we're talking. But like Ricks and Justin Taylor aren't really 3-point specialists either. Ricks can shoot it,
Ricks can shoot it, though.
but what's his like career?
Ricks can shoot it, man. I think Ricks may take that jump.
I hope so. Let's see his career 3-point
No, no,
percentage.
look at what he did last year. He had to have been a 40% shooter last year from three.
31.
Did I say 40?
Yeah.
I meant 31.
So and he was 31 at Moorhead, but
Okay, so never mind.
his free throw shooting went from 64 to 71. So yeah, maybe Ricks is the guy who takes that leap. He's got a reasonable stroke.
Or maybe Justin Taylor.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. Change you owe me a soda.
He
Maybe.
doesn't really seem like he's gonna be a 3-point. I just hope he feels more comfortable. I felt like he was under pressure with last year coming in from Syracuse and
I
expectations. I hope he just fills whatever role they want him to fill and is cool with it.
I hope this team gels a lot better and people aren't arguing with coaches on the sideline and people aren't late and people aren't like randomly doing things that we don't learn about until after the season.
It is a funny, like in some ways, it's kind of a funny roster construction just because they have a lot of like 6'7", 6'8" guys who can go get rebounds, but not a true center. But he brought in all these fours who had played the five at their previous stop. So he might just be like, we're small balling it, which small ball could be
Well,
like two 6'7", 240 guys at the same time.
this is also so interesting because like according to everything we were hearing and like talking with Carmelo Pacheco, like they were going hard after this kid who's like a 45%
Yeah.
3-point shooter. And it's like, okay, well, you wanted shooters. You the initial transfer people that you were going in with, you were trying to get shooters, and now you're just not getting shooters. Like,
Yeah. I wonder if there was just a pivot where it's like, all right, fine, we're not going to shoot then.
or I wonder if there's still like, because there's still a lot of transfers out on the open market. It's not
But
like,
they don't have many spots.
but they still have spots to fill.
How many?
Also, is Preston Fowler and Christian Brown? Maybe they can shoot
Maybe
threes.
they're your shooters. Yeah, Preston Fowler's we do keep forgetting it's probably the best like high school class they've had in a very long time. So you have two like true freshmen who could
Who can
legit
start?
play. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not start, but get like legit minutes off the bench.
Maybe Fowler starts, man. He's like a 4-star.
I think Fowler might start. Maybe he's the shooter.
Maybe,
Like,
yeah, you got him and
but
Cliff Davis shooting. Everybody
but there
else.
are other fours. Preston Fowler's like another four. So this team is just going to be a bunch of fours and then one 6-foot guard just distributing.
I don't know. I don't know what the vision is. I would like to know it at
I
some
think there
point.
is a vision. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but I like the idea that maybe there's a vision.
All right. Football, no updates in the transfer portal in
They added
football.
some they added Concepcion,
Oh, well, it technically
but
wasn't
not
transfer portal.
but not
Ha,
that.
ha, ha.
No,
Wasn't transfer
I thought
portal.
he enrolled at Kansas
No.
State already.
Oh, damn it.
Wasn't he an early enrollee?
Yeah, but on three or 247, whoever was reporting it like they got a signee, like a flip side.
Oh,
But he was enrolled and then he did enter the portal. So you're partially right. We're
what's his
both right.
first name? Aaron?
KC? No, that's his brother.
Got him, that'd be sick. Well,
It's Aaron.
that's what the funny reactions were where everyone's like, if he's anything like his brother. It's like, well, I don't know if we can expect him to be like a high-end P4 receiver.
At least not at JMU.
just because of blood.
He might be a high MP4 receiver, like Elijah Surratt is a high MP4 receiver, but
Is it Aaron or Arion? I'm
I've
not.
not. I'm gonna say Arion for right now
Yeah,
because it's Arrion.
there's an I.
Arion Concepcion, 3-star prospect.
Yeah, he had a bunch of really good offers coming out. He's like a slot guy, I think. He's only like 5'9", right?
Yeah, probably won't play much.
I mean, probably won't. Yeah, he's what gonna be a true freshman. So yeah, I'd be surprising given their receiver room. But I think maybe they're taking a shot here on like a talent level thing.
Oh, 100%. So
But he was gonna
def
go to NC State to follow his brother.
yeah, then was gonna go to Kansas State
Then he was
after
at Kansas State for like
2, 3 months.
semester, I guess. It was like not for me. But that also makes me think like probably wasn't about to play at Kansas State.
Probably he's not gonna play JMU though.
Yeah. So that's what I don't know. People were like, "Oh, I don't think this is too much of an ooh."
I saw it and I was like, oh, cool. We got a Concepcion brother. I saw he was a 3-star. I saw that he was a wide receiver, and I thought, oh, maybe we see him in 2027 if he doesn't transfer.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and I don't want to, you know, jump the shark or jump the snake or whatever the saying is, you know. I don't want to get too far
And
ahead of
for intents
myself.
and purposes. Oh, wait, that was on our previously recorded intro that did not.
For all the intents purposes, I do not want to jump too far ahead here, but like Chelsea's not here for the long haul. So every time they add like a high school kid
Like
or like
Rocco Marriott.
yeah,
It's
they
like,
add, I'm like that guy's probably not even going to end up here. Just being truthful. That's my initial thought is like they had guys in the 2026 class. I'm like, maybe they'll get half of those because I really do not believe that Chesney is at JMU for much longer. I would be shocked. I'll say it now. I'll be shocked if he's coaching JMU in the 2026 season.
and honestly, I don't know if we want him coaching the team in 2026, not for bad reasons, but like if this team lives up to its
Yes,
potential
exactly. Yeah.
and makes a college football playoff or wins the Sun Belt and is like the first G5 team out, then I would expect a P5 to come calling and scoop him up. Just in this era of college football, that is what we have seen. So if he's here in 2026, odds are it was probably an underwhelming season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like at least from what we've heard, there was like, Wake had a little bit of interest from what the reporting was like before they hired Jake Dickert and they went 9-4 this year. So like I think his FCS accomplishments, Chesney, are now like, oh, like this guy's a rising star. If
Yeah.
he gets JMU to 10 plus wins and shows again that he knows how to get after the portal, somebody's taking him.
Yes. Yes.
Like Indiana's strength coach, who was at JMU, Derek Owings, is being paid more than Chesney, I believe, at this point. So like Chesney's gonna get a bag soon.
Yes. Probably back up in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's not gonna be in Harrisonburg. So
Like if Boston College, who's their head coach right now? Bill O'Brien?
yeah.
Say they have a bad year and there were rumors that Boston College was interested in Chesney even when he was at Holy Cross. That was always like the rumor like Chesney wants to go there. If say Boston College has a bad year, does Boston College pull the cord on Bill O'Brien to go get Chesney?
He might pull it himself and take himself back to the NFL.
Yeah,
I feel like he does
like
that.
exactly. Like there's just so many things that happen in coaching carousel season where if they have 10 plus wins and they're in the college football playoff discussion, if they win against Louisville, all we're gonna hear the rest of the season is Chesney's a hot name on the coaching market. Chesney's a hot name on the coaching. The only reason we didn't hear that when it came to Kurt Signetti after the UVA win is two reasons. It was UVA, and Kurt Signetti at the time was 65, and people were like, he's not leaving. Like
Right.
even the national media was like, there's no way he's leaving. And then Indiana did the smart thing and was like, huh, old man who has tremendous success literally everywhere he goes. Maybe we should hire him. And you know what happened? It worked.
Yeah, Chesney's kind of exactly what a like
A
up and coming
P4,
P4 is looking for, right?
like
It's
a
like this.
P4 AD sees Chesney and goes, hmm.
It's like built in a lab, right? Doing bicep curls with the team. He's running around talking about how every day is the best day of their lives. He's attacking the portal very well. He somehow has connections to like
Well, no, no.
a lot of
We,
players.
us as fans, attack the portal really well.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fair point. We we kind of won portal season for him. So it'd be
Yeah,
nice if they could go out and win some games
yeah.
after the portal season we had was incredible.
It was amazing.
I take credit for Turner Schmidt.
You sh we could say a lot of things about Turner Schmidt.
So that was a big one. He's going to be a great player, but the portal haul seems pretty incredible. So yeah, I would just going to be surprised if Chelsea's here for the long haul because I think they're about to go off in 2025. It's going to
Yeah.
be a big year.
Any other thoughts? Any other things you want to bring up?
No, those are all my thoughts. Just got to make sure the driver gets dialed back in this week. Was that on this one or the other one?
That was on this one. We talked golf this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, I got to get
Um,
that dialed in. If I can get that dialed, I feel like I can start shooting some low scores and really put myself in position to win the U.S. Open.
I love it. Much like Neil Shipley, JMU alum and Ohio State alum. Before we wrap things up, we've got some fun little off-season projects we have coming down the pipe.
Yes.
Pike coming down the pike or pipe
Coming down.
Co- coming up.
Coming down the pike. Probably like the pike, right? Isn't that like a road?
I don't know.
Coming down the
Like
pike.
the turnpike.
Coming down the pike or pipe? Coming down the pike. Yeah.
Okay, we've got some great things coming down the pike, coming up the pike, coming up. In the meantime, you can buy us a coffee or a matcha or a beer or whatever at buymeacoffee.com/JMU Sports News. Oral histories. That's what's coming. We've got
Yeah.
some. So just to kind of give you guys a background into what we're doing with that, we will release 3 oral histories. We've kind of decided what the first 3 are going to be. And then I posted on Twitter, what moments do you want to hear about? If the first 3 are successful, because I imagine it's going to take a lot of coordinating to do these and some
Yeah.
time. And we're going to do them kind of documentary-esque style, not like a podcast interview style, but more like setting the scene and actually telling the story of these games through the lenses of the people that we're interviewing. They're probably going to take some more time. So if the first 3 are well received, then we'll do kind of different phases of them and start working into the events and the moments that you guys recommended on Twitter. You can find that JMU Sports News or on my Twitter at FitsAllTheWay. And should we announce what the first 3 are going to be?
No.
Okay.
Do one of the three.
One of the 3, because we have this one secured. We're talking with the man in the middle of it all on Friday. Scotty McGee's 2008, was it 2008? Touchdown return. It was
I believe so.
touchdown return against Richmond in City Stadium. That just seems like the highlight every JMU fan always cites. It's one of the greatest JMU highlights that you always see on replays. So we thought starting with him would be the most fun. So we're talking with Scotty later this week, and that will be one of the first 3 in phase 1 of our oral histories. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube. Just type in JMU Sports News in the search bar in YouTube and subscribe. That's where everything will be found. And then it'll also be posted later on throughout the summer on our podcast feed. But the best viewing and listening experience will be through YouTube.
I can't wait.
I'm excited to talk to Scotty. I talked with him on the phone last Friday. He's pumped.
Oh, good.
Great guy. Um, Super excited for that conversation. There's nothing better than talking to old football guys about like great moments of theirs.
It really is. Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you got to add?
That's it for me.
All right, for the JMU Sports, for Bennett Conlin, I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. This has been the JMU Sports News Podcast. Please buy us a coffee if you feel
Yeah.
so inclined. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to sponsor the podcast or get involved with the podcast in any way, jmusportsnews@gmail.com. If you're also interested in potentially helping us run our Instagram, that can be found. Just email us as well, jmusportsnews@gmail.com. And check us out on our home on the web, jmusportsnews.com.